and thing. So I think today we have to study about bones, right? Specialized connective tissues we have to study, right? Good morning all. Yeah, so today what we will be studying is like we'll try to study about specialized connective tissue. Okay, under which you will study primarily about your bones, and then you will study about blood, and you will study about lymph. So these two things are called as vascular. Okay, and then like your bones along with cartilage is called as skeletal connective tissue. Okay, so we are going to study about these things. Maybe a little bit about cartilage only we'll study. We'll not like elaborately see, but bones we have to study. What are the points that we have completed in specialized tissues? Can you just tell me? We have to freshly start this thing, no? Okay, so we'll start with vascular first. Okay, so it is easy. You would have learned it already. So we would study about vascular first, then we can move on to bones. Okay, so what we have to know is specialized connective tissue is like kind of we'll study about vascular tissues first. So what is vascular? We have vascular tissue is the connective tissue that are fluid in nature. Okay, so if you see this blood is a vascular tissue, specialized vascular tissue. Also, you have lymph, which is one more type of body fluid which is running in your body, which is also a specialized connective tissue. Okay, so these two are the fluid connective tissues in your body. Okay, so if you're like looking at these fluid connective tissues, normally what should a connective tissue should have? Connective tissue will be having what we call it as a matrix. Okay, on which what will be there? What are the other things which will be there in this thing? Normally you should have corpuscles or cells, and fibers might be there, but in blood and lymph you do not have any fibers are absent basically. Okay, so instead what is only there, you have a matrix and corpuscles only will be there. Only these two things are present in the blood vascular tissue and lymph tissue. Okay, so you have matrix which is fluid in nature, that is why we call it as a fluid connective tissue, and you have corpuscles which are there, which will be there. Okay, so blood is a connective tissue, lymph is a connective tissue, both comes under the category of vascular connective tissues. Okay, they are fluid in nature. What is absent in them? Fibers are absent. Okay, quickly write it. If you're done, let me know so that we can move on. So third slide. So now let us try to see what is the thing. So blood is what? We are going to study about blood. The matrix is called as plasma. Plasma is the fluid part. Okay. On which what will happen? Corpuscles float on the plasma. Okay. There are three types of corpuscles. What are the three types of corpuscles? The first one is what we call it as erythrocytes. Erythrocytes is what we call it as what? Red blood cells. Okay, what is the role of this erythrocytes? It carries oxygen. The second one is what we call it as leukocyte. Leukocytes are white blood cells. Yeah, corpuscles are present only on the plasma. Plasma is like a fluid on which corpuscles will be floating. Okay. So your blood is nothing but plasma plus this corpuscles. Leukocytes are white blood cells. What is the major role of them? They are involved in defense mechanism. And the third thing is what we call it as thrombocytes. Thrombocytes, corpuscles means cells, bodies. The word corpus indicates body. Okay, we are saying corpus. The word corpus itself is like indicating of body. You have thrombocytes are the third type of cells. Okay, which we call them as platelets. They are involved in clotting of blood. Okay, are you guys done? Can we move on? What is the role of blood? What is the role of blood? It helps in transport of substances. All your gases, nutrients, waste that are there. Okay. It helps in what? Helps in defense mechanism. Defense from foreign organisms. And what else will it do? Helps in clotting during injury. Helps in homeostasis of temperature. So what is this homeostasis of temperature? Yeah, it will be helping to clot itself. Okay. What is the meaning of homeostasis? Like you have a constant inner body temperature. Okay. You see, in human beings, we have this particular ability of this thing. What is the thing that we have? We have the property of maintaining a constant temperature inside our body. Okay. Your standard body temperature is 98.4 degree Fahrenheit. When this is getting more than that, you get what we call it as fever. Your body temperature, when it is beyond 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit, it is what we call it as fever. When it is getting less than that, that is when we get that chill fever. Where kulur jvaram appdin solrom. You don't have that chill fever. You get the chill fevers when the temperature is dropping down. Otherwise, normally your body will try to maintain this particular temperature somewhere around 96 to this particular temperature. It varies. This is the standard temperature that it will be having. When it is getting below that value, you will get what we call it as a chill fever. You will shiver in that case. And when it is higher, you will have a sweaty fever. So what will happen is your body will start to sweat a lot. So that like what will happen is the temperature your body will try to make it down. So you have some systems in your body which will try to maintain that temperature. So your blood is one thing which is going to help the maximum in terms of maintaining this constant temperature. Okay. Yeah, basically blood when it is like running faster, you will get activity. So you see, like let us say that you're running. What is happening in your body? Your body will be like trying to when you're running fast, your heart is pumping lots of blood. So in your arteries, veins, lots of blood is getting circulated. What will that increase? That will increase more amount of glucose going to your body. Okay, so that will liberate lots of heat, and that will cause sweating. That is why what is happening is when you're running constantly, you're sweating a lot. Why? Because the pumping of heart is fast, and at the same time more blood is circulated and more amount of glucose is being utilized, and it will allow the evaporation to happen at a faster rate. Okay, basically when you're running, your body temperature inside increases. Okay, and that is what is burning the fat and all those things. Okay, are we understanding? So that is what is there. So say for example, you went to a very cold climate place. Immediately your body is starting to shiver. Why? It is because when you're shivering, what is happening? Again, the same thing is happening. Your heart is pumping at a faster rate. It is trying to bring back to the normalcy. Whenever you are having more temperature, your body adapts evaporation. You sweat. Sweat will cause evaporation. Evaporation will cause cooling. It will try to bring it back to 98.4. Okay. So, and then like say, for example, if your body temperature is coming down, what will happen? You will start to shiver. When you start to shiver, what will happen? More blood is pumped and heat is generated. And ultimately, what will happen? It will come back to the 98.4. Shiver means nadungaradhu. Okay. குளிர் ஜரத்துல நடுங்குவீங்களா அதுதான் shiver. When you're like kind of like having colder thing, you will start to shiver. When you are in a higher temperature, you will start to sweat. Yeah, the temperature in your body is dependent on the pumping of the blood. Homeostasis can be defined as the equilibrium. Yeah, right. Your body will try to maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis, the word homeostasis can be considered as equilibrium. Equilibrium of temperature. Okay. So homeostasis is there for many things. Say for example, your body inside, the insulin level should be constant, the glucose level should be constant. That is homeostasis of glucose. Okay, so you have like multiple conditions are there inside your body. You have to maintain constant environment. So that maintenance of that constant environment is what we call it as homeostasis. Environment of what? Temperature, chemicals, water, all those things can be considered as homeostasis. Okay, equilibrium of temperature. Are we able to understand? Quickly take it down and tell me so that I can move. I will not show the slides if you are telling me to proceed further. Okay, if you're like writing, please tell me that you're writing. And after going to the 5th page, don't ask me to go to the 4th page. When your body is already in heat, there are two types of fever. Some type of fever like you will not shiver, some type of fever only you will shiver. When the temperature is coming down, your body shivers. When the temperature is going up, your body will be like kind of like sweating. Okay, sometimes the temperature comes down and you get fever, sometimes the temperature goes up and you get fever. Both are possible. Okay, so now let us move on further. The next one is lymph. Lymph is also a fluid connective tissue. It flows in lymph vessel. So in your body, you will have three different kinds of pipelines. Okay, you will have artery and you will have vein. And apart from that, you will also have a third pipe. The third pipe is called as the lymphatic vessel. So these two are called as the blood vessels. Artery and vein. Okay. The third one is what we call it as lymphatic vessel. Okay, the third one is called as a lymphatic vessel. So what will happen is in this lymphatic vessel, you will have a fluid which will be flowing. The fluid which is flowing in this lymphatic vessel is called as lymph. Are we able to understand? So your body will contain arteries, blood vessels, and lymph vessels will be there. Okay. In the lymph vessels, a fluid which is flowing is called as the lymph. Okay. So now what you will know is what will the lymph will be made up of? Lymph is made up of plasma, which is similar to blood, and then it will have lymphocytes. The lymphocytes are nothing but white blood cells. A particular type of white blood cells. Okay, it is also made up of plasma and corpuscles. Okay, so now if you're seeing, they are also a particular variety of white blood cells. What is absent? RBC slash platelets are absent. Okay, are we able to understand? Please copy this thing down. Okay, so are you guys done? So now let us try to understand what is the role of lymph. Lymph will play like lots of important roles. Okay, so what is the role of lymph? Basically, it transports fat in your body. From digestive glands, digestive organs. You all know that when after your digestion is over, there is a villi which will be like collecting the thing. Okay, villi will be absorbing. So say for example, your this is your intestine. throughout the wall of intestine like this, like small things will be there. Like this, it will be like you'll have this finger-like projections. And from here, what will you see is you will see that these things are connected. You will see that there will be a blood vessel, artery, there will be a vein, and there is also a lymph capillary which will be there. So like this, it will be connected. So here, what will you see? Through blood vessels, certain things will move. Through the lymph vessels, certain things will move. So while digesting, the fat particles, whatever is digested, will not go to the blood vessel. Instead, where will it go? It will go to the lymph vessel. Okay, it will transport fat from the digestive organs. And finally, what will happen is you will see that the blood vessels and the lymph vessels will join in certain spots which are called as lymph nodes. Their blood and lymph will start to mix. Okay, since lymphocytes are having, like lymph is having lymphocytes, it will play a major role in defense mechanism. Okay, what is the role of lymph? Two roles of lymph is there. What are the two roles? One, it will try to help to transport the fat from digestive organs to blood. It will collect, and then like in lymph node, it will allow to join it with the blood. And it is also playing a major role in defense mechanism. We are talking about lymph nodes. We are not talking about plants. In your body, there are some places which we call it as lymph node. Let me show you. You see here, this is a body. So wherever this dots you are seeing no in this diagram, those dots are all called as lymph nodes. Those are the places where the blood and the lymph will mix. What is the meaning of node? Where two or more things are joined together. What will happen here in this case? In this case, two things are getting mixed. What is that thing? Blood capillary system and the lymph capillary system will join there in these spots. You are able to understand. So like this, your body will have lots of lymph nodes. In those nodes, what will you see? You will be able to see that they will be mixing. The blood vessel and the lymph vessel will mix or join together. Are we able to understand? No, no, no. Number of lymph nodes and all will not increase. Okay. It is a fixed number only. These are spots where your lymph and blood mixes. So with this thing, lymph is also over. So now we will move on to bones. It is a rigid connective tissue. Okay, bone is a rigid connective tissue. Not from organs exactly, it will transport fat from the digestive system and it will try to carry it and it will try to mingle it with the blood at lymph nodes. Okay, it is a rigid connective tissue. It is made of a solid matrix and bone cells. Okay, it is rigid, so it is not flexible. Yeah, right. So if you are looking at a structure of this bone, bone has four parts. The first part is called as peristomium. The second part is called as matrix. The third part is called as endostomium. Sorry. The spelling is wrong. Periosteum, endosteum, and finally the fourth part is what we call it as bone marrow. Okay, the outer covering is what we call it as periosteum. In between, what will happen is you will see a fluid which is like running, the hard matrix will be there. This is where the bone cells are going to be present. So this layer is what we call it as matrix. Okay, and inside that matrix you have a layer which is called as endosteum. And in between only what will you see? You will see the bone marrow. So again, what will happen? This side, the bone will have what? Endosteum. You will have matrix, and then the outer covering will be the periosteum. Like this, it will be. Are we able to understand? So this is how your structure of bone will be. So if you are looking at the bone will have four layers: periosteum, matrix, endosteum, and then inside you have the bone marrow. you have cells called osteocytes. Osteocytes, the word osteo means it is connected with bone. Osteocytes, cells are called as osteocytes, are present in the matrix. Okay, if you are looking at the bone, so this is a bone. Okay, you are able to see this bone. The outermost layer of that bone that you see is called as the periosteum. Okay, so the periosteum is the outermost layer, and immediately after that, what will you have? You will have a matrix. So this matrix will be filled like this. So this is the periosteum. Then this major part that you see here is the matrix. Matrix will be filled with cells. Okay, it will have blood vessels. It will have that nerves. All those things will be running through this thing. Okay, so that is the matrix. The outermost covering, that white color covering that you are seeing, is called as the periosteum. Then filled is your matrix. And after that, you have one more layer which is called as endosteum. What is this endosteum? Inner layer. In between that thing, you have a empty space, that empty space which is having a fluid, which we call it as the bone marrow. Okay, so ultimately, if you're looking at a bone, if you're looking at layer by layer, you are seeing this is a bone. The outermost layer is the periosteum. Then comes the matrix. And then you'll have one more inner layer which is called as the endosteum. And in between, what was the thing that is there is called as the bone marrow. Are we able to understand? And what kind of cells are making bones? It is made up of bones which are called as osteocytes. Yeah, the matrix is protected by periosteum and endosteum. Okay, now moving on further. The matrix contains calcium salts, collagen fibers, and osteocytes. Okay, so what is the role of bones? Provide structure, protects softer tissues, organs, helps in movement, and bone marrow produces cells. So the blood and all is produced in the bone marrow only. Okay, so these are the 4 points which can be considered as the role of bones. Okay, are you guys done? If you're done, let me know so that we can proceed to cartilage. Okay, someone is asking me to wait, so I'm waiting. Okay, so now I'm continuing. The next one is cartilage. Cartilage is made up of cells called as chondrocytes. Okay, so they are covered with a matrix that is secreted by them. Okay, in your cartilage tissue, you will have like this chondrocytes will be there. This will be producing some kind of matrix, which will be like kind of covering those things. Okay, so they are soft, they are solid, pliable. Pliable means what? They can be changed into different shapes and they resist compression. You can touch your ear and see. Your ear is like kind of like what? It is a cartilage. If you are able to touch your pinna and see, you will be able to see some semi-bone structure. You cannot compress it. You cannot press it and then like you cannot like kind of like what? Press it like and compress it. But you will be able to bend it. Yeah, nose also. The tip of the nose, you have cartilages which are there. Okay, so those parts of the nose will also have cartilage. Pliable means something which is bendable, changeable. You cannot press it and break it. As in, like you can break it, but you cannot compress it. So the cells of cartilage is called as chondrocytes. In vertebrates, the cartilages are converted into bones mostly. What is the role? Protection and movement. As your organism is developing, it needed some kind of firm structures to hold. So gradually they develop into what? Bones. So which means the bones will be like initially they will be what? They will be like kind of cartilages which gradually develops into bones. Are we understanding? So if you are done, we can proceed further today. They will have bones. They will also have bones. Babies will have bones. But gradually, most of the cartilages will join with bones and become integrated. Actually, in your cartilage, no, there are two types of cartilages which are there. One type of cartilage which is called as elastic cartilage. Okay. And the other one we call them as hyaline cartilage. We'll study about this in 11th standard and all. I'm just trying to tell you, this elastic cartilages will be cartilage throughout the lifetime. This hyaline cartilage will get calcified. So gradually they will become what? They will become bone-like structures. So say for example, we have this, males will have this Adam's apple. Okay. So you have Adam's apple. Adam's apple, when you are formed, you will not be able to see them very prominently. In the neck region, we have this male prominence, voice box prominence. So men will be having like elastic, it will be elastic for some time. Elastic will be throughout the lifetime, it will be elastic like your ear and all. Okay. But actually, in case of your thyroid prominence or this Adam's apple, till puberty, what will not happen? It will not become calcified. But after puberty, it will start to become calcification will happen, which means it will try to become calcium will start to deposit there. Calcification means calcium is depositing more and more. So what will happen gradually? It will try to become like a bone-like structure. So that is what we call it as such a cartilage is what we call it as hyaline cartilage. Okay, you're understanding the difference between the two things. So there are different types of cartilages. One we call it as elastic. Adam apple itself is a cartilage only. It is not a bone. It is not considered as a bone. Initially it was elastic and gradually it became what? Calcification happened. So it is a hyaline type. if there are some kind of cartilages which will remain throughout the life elastic, those are all called as elastic. There are some cartilages which will be initially elastic and gradually calcified, those are called as hyaline. Sternum is a bone, it is not a cartilage. Sternum is the chest bone. Okay, it is not a cartilage. Okay, so now let us move on further. So with this thing, we have completed specialized connective tissues. Okay, the last part of the lesson, we will try to you have two things pending in this chapter. One is your nervous system, and the second one is your muscular system. We are going to study that thing now. As in, like, we will try to study about muscles. Muscles are also connective tissues. Three types of muscles are there: skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscle. Okay, muscles are also connective tissues only. There are three types: skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. Skeletal muscle is also called as voluntary muscles. Smooth muscle is also called as involuntary muscle. Okay, the skeletal muscles are attached to bones. This is also involuntary only. Attached to bones, not attached to bones. This one is also not attached with bones. So you guys understand what is voluntary movement, right? And what is involuntary movement? Or should I explain? The movement which will happen automatically with your consent. I want to lift a hand, I'm lifting it. I want to talk, I'm doing it wantedly. You want to walk, so only then you will be able to do it. Such movement is what we call it as voluntary actions. Okay. There are certain things which are happening in your body which is not under your control. Such activities are called as involuntary actions. Say, for example, can you say your stomach, okay, digest now? No, it cannot happen. Can you tell your intestine, okay, now flush the things inside? You cannot say it that way. So those are all involuntary actions. So those tissues which are connected with involuntary actions are usually smooth muscles. Those tissues which are attached to the voluntary movements are called as skeletal muscles. With your conscience, if it is happening, it is called as what? Voluntary. Without your conscience, if it is happening, it is called as what? Involuntary. Say, for example, you all have this bicep muscle is there. Bicep muscle is what? Like they will try to build, men and all the bodybuilders in their arm, they will try to build biceps, triceps and all. So this bicep, tricep and all are skeletal muscles. They are attached with the bones. So you try to flex your hand, you will be able to understand it. Okay. So say for example, if you want to lift your hand above, you will be able to see some muscles in your shoulder working. So those muscles are all skeletal muscles. But muscles of your digestive system, muscles of your respiratory system, muscles of your heart, and all will be considered as involuntary actions. Are we able to understand? The muscles here, I have to explain the structure of these three things, which we will see it in the next class. I have just given an introduction for muscles. I just have to teach you the structure of muscles in the next class. Okay, and structure of nervous system. Next class, we will complete this chapter fully. Okay. You can voluntarily stop the breathing for some time, but beyond a point, you cannot do that. Automatically, you will take off the hand. Okay, I'll quickly show you the slides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, with this thing, we'll wrap up today's class. Thank you very much.